Well, hello YouTubers, how's everyone today? Hey, I found this stick out there in my pile that has a twist to it. Natural twist just right at the bottom. Actually, it would be the more narrow side. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to reverse this and I'll trim this down. This will become the bottom and leave this on the top because your hand fits quite natural right there in that twist. I'm going to polish it up real slick. We'll preserve every bit of that twist in there. It's still got a vine inside there that will pop out. Let's just stay tuned and see what happens. I've got to get this twisted vine out of here. It's really embedded in there, and we have to take that out. So the best thing we can do there is take a Dremel and see what it can do. Okay, here we are in the carbon booth. To start with, I'm going to use this fairly aggressive round nose end mill that's more narrow than my vine going through here, but it's very aggressive. I'll just pull my hood down and we'll be ready to go. I'm looking directly at the back of it now, and that's my center line. Now with the center line, you can look at your picture. That's the center line right there. We've got to have a kind of a contour around this way now, and then we'll get that V straightened up. Now that's better. Now if you see a lot of goats though, they'll have from the side, and when they're standing, that'll look like it's flared out a little bit more. But that's just actually a nail, like a fingernail. They'll come in and they'll trim that nail down. They'll cut it off with scissors. And leaving this flat area for the goat to stand on. Now, if you look at the front of it, there's where the hoof is split, right there, and around into the back. And you'll see I'm going to add some hairline head down, just that much of it. I'm not going to go hair all over the leg. Well, let's take this off of here now. And what I'm going to do is cut some hairlines into that now. It's like cutting a beard in a wood spear. But to hold that at an angle, you just get the cut on the angle of that. Start at the bottom, go all around where your base is going to be. Now you can go across this way. It'll be fast too. I think it's time to turn our attention to the garnishment that's going to go on the top. Well, we're back on the workbench here, and without further ado, we're going to get the top decoration, or the garnishment, I call it, fitted, and we're going to put this crystal arrangement. Of course, that's made out of resin. It's not real crystal. And we're going to have that goat's foot on the end of it. I think it's going to be a pretty nice and different walking stick. Let's get this thing fitted and get started on the finish. First thing I'll do, I'll get this clamped up so we can hold it in the drill press. That's not too bad. So we'll put a center, nice little mark right there. Now I can go run the drill press, and I'm going to put a 1/4 inch drill in it, and we're going to drill a hole right there. I have a 1/4 inch hole here. It's about right, I think. Let's go down there. We want this show, so we don't want too deep in there. We don't need it too deep. Say we have the hole drilled right there. You can't hardly even see it looking straight down on it. But from the side, you don't see that at all. So let's get back over on the bench now, and we'll drill a hole in the top. I guess I didn't have that on camera, the whole process. Now we'll see here, I have a little bit longer dowel pin, and I'll cram that all the way to the bottom, and I have some sticking out. Now I can push this one all the way into that crystal and glue that in there, ready to attach the top. But we'll lay this aside for now, turn our attention back to the sanding and get this finished sanding done here, and then the next step will be to put the stain on it. Okay, now for 150 grit on here, I'm going to start polishing this stick up here. Here you see I have my stick all polished down. I've got it sanded smooth all the way down. I've got my carving done on the bottom. And I have my new tablecloth down, I have my rubber gloves ready, have the oak stain out, and the old rag here I'm going to wipe it on with. Let's go ahead and get to wiping this stain on. For that, I just soak it down in there, get it wiped on good all the way around. Actually, you wouldn't think so, but the hard part is getting it down in that where that vine was. I think I have that. That's got it, looks like. Now, this rest of it will go pretty fast. But again, you got to make sure that you don't have any holes or crevices down through there. I like this oak stain. I don't care if we put it on oak or not, but it brings out the grain in the worst of them. It makes that grain pop. Now I've got that down through there good. Turn it around to the bottom, which has my goat hoof on it. I may come back after this dries, and we'll put some acrylic paint on that goat hoof. Now, I want to show you how that I did the hair on just a little bit from here down toward the hoof. That'll be seen a little better here a little later on. I'm going to wipe that all down in the hairline there. We may dry brush that with a little white, but the hoof, we'll let this stain dry. And now you can maybe see that hair on that goat hoof coming out. You see a little bit of it there. So let's let that dry right there on the clean tablecloth, more commonly called paper towels, but I call them a tablecloth. There's no sawdust or anything under there. You can take your glove now and rub that down to help it dry a little bit. I want it to now dry as soon as possible. So let's wait a little bit and we'll be right back and see what it looks like. Now every Sunday is going to be a walking stick video. The rest of the week is open game for anything in my hobby shop. We do CNC work, lathe work, different things. We nail together birdhouses. We might be sweeping the floor, but on Sundays, you're going to get some sort of a unique walking stick. So hit that subscribe button now if you haven't done it already. I appreciate you being one of the 20% of regular comeback viewers that we have on this channel. You can also click the little bell and be reminded when I put up a new video. So let's get on with it now and demonstrate how this wipe-on poly works. Stain is all dry now. Getting ready to put on this Min-Max polyacrylic. I call this my wipe-on polyacrylic. Don't say anything about wipe-on. It's not advertised as such, but you can wipe it on. Guarantee you it will come out beautiful. I've used it time and time and again. It's exactly what I do. Now I brush it on first just to get a good coverage, and then I wipe with my rubber gloves. Now I want to remind you before we get started to put that eye hook on the end there like I did. That way you'll have something to hang it upside down on while it dries. Now, in my drying room, I have a ceiling wire that comes down, and that's what I use. Just like the stain, I want to make sure that it's down in those grooves good. We'll just saturate this all the way around before we do the wiping, and I'll show you how that works. You can wipe it on with a rag. That will work too. You don't have to brush it. I just think it's quicker with the brush, and I get a good liberal coat on there. Now, I want to go right here, and you see the rubber glove, I'm just wiping that down good, and that covers it all the way around good. Get back up on this end. Now it's ready to go back and hook upside down by this knob here in the back room. Now I just brought the stick out of the drying room, and I'll show you a little trick here. 400 grit sandpaper, and you hold it in your hand sort of like this, twist and turn, and I go down one time with that 400 grit, and that makes it smooth as a baby's butt, you might say, all the way up to that twist like this. Just twist it around, have that in your hand to where it goes right against that twist, and that's pretty slick up and down there. And right here, you just go over it a few times, and it really makes a difference. And that's all I do to it. Now I consider that finished, and what we want to do next is get some black acrylic, and I'll be right back. Got dirt between the toes, so we don't paint in between there, but we have to get this black first. That's just the hoof, and you can tell the old goat, he's been out in the dirt, so you don't want to paint all around it. Just leave it kind of a grayish. You'll see it whenever we show it here at the closing with closing remarks. You'll be able to see a close-up of this. But I wanted to show you, just put it on not all the way around the back. And I put the black acrylic. Can we see that? We got black acrylic there, but we also left that on the bottom because that old goat, he's climbing around, he gets dirt between the toes, so you don't want that polished look really. Pick a little sawdust off the table and put a little of that in there. He's been out there in the dirt. Put a little sawdust on there, and it'll make it look just very realistic. And it kind of gives it a dirty look, which is a natural look for the goat hoof. Now comes the important time to draw our attention to the embellishment on the top. And let me get all that stuff ready, and then we're going to put that on next. Okay, now for the embellishment, now I have 2-part epoxy that I use. It's called JB Clear Weld. It's a 5-minute epoxy. You got part A, part B, 50-50 mix. And all we do is just squirt a little of that out here now. And I'm going to make just a 1/2-inch gob of it right there. And you look at little spread, and you just kind of look at it and get the same amount in that pile. That will be close enough. I'll smear that on there and get some down in the hole. Get enough of that squeezed down so I can get a good amount of it right here on the bottom of that crystal. Now I want to put this on. Stick that right in the dowel there. I think it's right there. Okay, we push that right down on there tight, and the dowel is up in there where you can't see it, and you also got that to where just a little trimming now after that dries with the Dremel tool, and that will flow, the wood will blend right in with that. Now we're going to have to let that dry now about 5 minutes at least minimum. We'll be back in about 15 minutes, and we'll see what happens next. I'll show you what we got to do now. On the Dremel, I have a little sander, and I'm going to go around these edges. I'll grind some into the crystal. If the wood's sticking out, I'll grind a little of it off, and that'll blend that crystal right in the end of that stick. Now let's get that started, and we'll see what that looks. Now we'll grind it just the corner of that. You can also kind of taper it down. We're cutting a little more wood right here, you see, to get it. Just throw your finger around every now and then. Just keep taking your, yeah, see, that's all. Let's just look at that real quick and see if I need any more took off of it. We want it to, we'll have to put a little more stain on the wood, of course, and we'll clear that up. But you see how all those grooves now match and they kind of go around that. I hope I got that in the camera. We can see. You just grind that down to where your finger can't hardly feel that crack going all the way around there. So I'll continue this ahead around and it'll go right up into the crystal. It looks like a real set of crystal growing right out of that stick. So I think we've accomplished that. Let's go back to the bench and I'm gonna put a little more stain right in here where we ground off and we'll see what it looks like. Now right here with what I got in mind, I figured the jute would look really good with this because it has the goat hoof on the bottom, remember? So I have about a 1/4 inch piece of jute and you want to make sure it's got enough, it's going to end up right here. And then follow that spiral down to where we're going to get down to start wrapping this stick. But we come down to where we want this wrap to start and make you a good long loop there and put this under your thumb. Now I think I got that set to where everybody can see that loop now. See that? Let it hang down there. And you want to keep these two strings together here. Now we are wrapping going this way, right? We're wrapping around this way. So I want to continue to do that. Bring it under. It's getting these things started that's hard. Want to go over that one you're holding coming from the top. See, it's on that side. And you want to make sure that you go over that. And then you come around, keep your thumb there, and you come around. Now go under that next one. Now your thumb's not as important, is it? Because you got it trapped under a rope there. So continue head around. You can turn this now, pull it tight, and you can go right on around and just turn your stick. After you get several reps, it's going to be a lot easier. Keep this rope together as you go down. That loop on the other end, you want to keep that. Yeah, let's see. Let's see that loop and that string going around there. You want to keep those two together as you go around. And we're going to go around again, and we won't have to pull it real tight. It'll be snug on there. But you see that rope is staying together, and that wants to stay together all the way down the stick. So let's keep turning and turning. We turn the stick instead of the rope, and the rope just continues to pull right through my thumb and fingers like I got it, and it's rolling right on down. Now see the loop that's going down is staying right together there. So want that. Now, we don't want it too tight, remember, but we want it snug on there. If you get it too tight, you have to unwrap it and do it again. So we don't want to do that, do we? And I can't tell you how tight it is, but just not too tight. Just go right on around and keeping those two together as you go down. The two, every once in a while, check and make sure it stays together. And we're moving right along here. Go right on down the stick. We still have that double loop there. Just make sure the loop goes down further than what you want to wrap, because you can't wrap below that loop. Keep the rope pushed up and keep these together. That's all we have to worry about. I'd say that's about enough for a good grip right there. Now when you get this, as long as you want it, the end of your grip, here's how we're going to secure that all together. This end has to slip in this loop. Coming around here, so what I want to do, we're going to take this end and pull it back up in that loop, back up in there. I'll show you how we do that. Now we're going to cut that a little bit longer because that's going to pull back up in there. So an inch will do it. There it is. Okay, now the frayed end, don't worry about. We don't want it to come completely undone, but you'll slide that right in that loop like this. Can we see that? See that loop sticking up there? I'm going to slide that right in there, just like that. Now hang on to that thought just a minute. You go back up to the top. We got this other string here, and we got to pull it through. When we pull this, that's going to pull this rope. That's going to pull this rope down tight again there, and I'll show you that before we pull this through. And then that'll continue to pull up, and it'll pull this tail right up in the middle there and tie that down securely. But we take this one, which is we're going to use for the spiral in a minute, but we want to pull it now, and it will pull that end up in there. And won't be able to show that all on camera, but I'm going to show you how I pulled it. Now that's that loop right there. Can we see that? I think so. But anyway, that's that loop, and it's not tucked up in there yet. But as I pull it more on that other end of this string, this loose string I got, as I pull it more, it'll pop under there, and it'll start pulling this rope right up in there. And after you get that up in there about an inch, you can quit pulling it. You can pull it up in there and then pull that loop up out of the way just a little bit. But that's going to secure everything together. Now let's get it up here. You won't be able to see it, but I'm going to pull it up under there. What I say, if you have it too tight, it ain't going to go. But sometimes you can take your pulling, and you can take a screwdriver, and you can kind of help that rope get over that. Like to get it to pop under there, it has to pop under that last layer of rope. So just help it along a little bit. There we did. Now it's up between that rope and that one, but we can pop it up over this other one. There we go. I think that's going. And as we pull it up, that will get tight again. And we'll pull it some more. Yeah. There you go. You don't see anything, and that rope is pulled up there pretty doggone snug. We got a little bit sticking out here. We can just cut it off like that. A little bit of screwdriver, kind of tuck it under there because it ain't holding anything. We'll push it back up in there. No glue necessary on this end or anything. It's just all pulled back in itself and all the way around. Now with that done, turn your attention up to this. This starts out now, it comes out right below that, right below where that spiral started. Okay, I have a glue gun out here, and I'm going to put a little dab of glue right here to where that, yeah, there it comes. Get in the hot wax gun, and we get a little bit right there in that groove. And I want to pull it kind of around here and get it right in that hot wax like that. And we will continue working that around, put a little more right in that channel and go around like that. And then we can pull a little more. Don't have to pull hard. We just have to get it in that channel. And now we turn it a little bit more, go right down in there, and we'll lay some more right down right to there. Pull it right around again. Just lay it right down and let it go past that and let it give it time to cool a little bit. And don't worry about too much in there, because when you sling it back, it's not going to come out of where that glue is at. Now right here, we want to stop a moment and I want to get the pliers out here, because we want to cut that just about to where it'll stop right down into the end of that glue and be right there. Let's try that and see what it looks like. And now I'll take that little screwdriver. I'm going to look at the end of it, and it's telling me it's still a little bit long. Now, you can do something about that. However, if you cut too much off, cut it too short, then you may not be able to get this right. So I cut a little more of it off. Now, I'm going to say that's about right. I'm going to back it up again, and I'll back a little, put a little more glue, squeeze it right down in that hole, and right down there. Now we'll pull it right around. Remember, the glue is hot, that's why they call it hot glue. And I want to go, we get it on your finger. Push that into the rope, right down into the glue. Just like that. Now don't be messing with it too much, or you'll just make a mess. Glue dries pretty fast. And I got it poked right on down in there. And it looks like that rope just kind of ends right down in there. Looks like it's coming just below that crystal. A little bit right there you can just trim off. But if you look at it close now, you can see where that rope just looks like it comes around there and goes right in that little pocket right there. That's what you're looking for. Now that hot glue is going to hold it right in that groove. You're going to go right on down into the handle and disappear right on down into the handle. So let's make sure that dries okay, and that's about it. Now let's square up the camera here. We'll do a review and do the final comments on this walking stick. Well, that's about it for this walking stick. You see the top of it comes right about here. I'm holding the handle right there. It has that jute wrapped handle that you saw how I did that, and that comes out rather tight there all the way up, and that rope comes right out of that, seems to go right down in there, and it follows where that vine went in the twist all the way up in that, where that vine had choked that down, and it comes up and goes right in to see that. There's not a hole there, but it looks like it's embedded a little bit in that crystal, and that crystal has a look of just growing right out of the end of that stick. Now with that, I'm kind of calling that the crystallized walking stick with a goat's hoof. Why? Because if we go to the crystal, it's crystallized. Go past the handle and go right on down. Keep on going. And now on the other end, it has a goat's hoof. You see it even have dirt on the bottom of the old goat's hoof, just like you'll find in the field. Now with that goat hoof and the texture up here is kind of represent the goat leg. Now it starts to get smooth as you go ahead up. Then you have a nice comfortable grip right here. And I'll tell you what, I kind of think that's different, and I hope you like it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and be sure, if you haven't done it already, I would really appreciate you clicking that subscribe button and click that little bell there so you'll be notified of the walking stick and the other videos that comes out. Every Sunday you're going to see a walking stick. That's reserved for the Sundays. I'm going to start putting out other videos of my other little shop projects that I have at various times through the week. I'm going to offer something special, and it'll be for members only. Now that's not available yet, but wait, I'm trying to come up with something. If you have any suggestions, let me know. So go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on that, and click that bell and you'll be notified when another video comes out. But other than that, you just watch every Sunday. Sunday morning I'm going to have a new walking stick. It's going to be different than the rest of them, and you got to admit, I think this one's a little bit different. See the crystal on that end? And other than that, I have one thing I would like to say, and that is, I'll see you in the next video.